All right, we're live and we welcome everybody into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host, the award winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. And this show is where we try to help other people. And I am here with Dana tonight. And we ask you if you would please like and share this video, invite people to watch this video. It would be very beneficial to them, I guarantee it. So, if you would like to introduce yourself more, Dana, go ahead.
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Dana Priyanka Hammond, and I have co-authored with a total 18 women, Fearless Visionary, Tear the Veil. The book is separated in two volumes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. A little about me. I'm a survivor of child trafficking, and I am now currently on a journey to searching for my birth family. So that's just a little background of my story, and this is why I'm currently here to share my story.
Well, thank you, Dana. I happen to have a question that that is on my head, so it must be on other people's minds too. What exactly is child trafficking?
Wow. Well, child trafficking means various of things. It does not just necessarily mean sex. It also means being abducted, to be organ trafficked, as well as adoption trafficked, as well as labor trafficking. That is what child trafficking means.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, and I hope you find your family. But I want to say hi to Sean Sagal. He just hopped on. He's one of the Impact Speaker Academy alumni. So I wanted to say hi to him, and he also says hi to you, Dana.
Hi, Sean.
And we're going to jump right in with this show. But so what have you experienced in your life that you've had to get past?
A lot of trauma, a lot of obstacles that would be perfectly normal for maybe a person who was raised by a mom and a dad. Well, a mom and a dad is not necessarily something I had in my life that was very that could have been healthy. I my obstacle was trying to figure myself out, and one of those things were have dealing with identity crisis. That was one of my obstacles, and overcoming that.
So how exactly did you deal with your identity crisis?
Honestly, I really had to go through a lot of phase. It took me a long, long time. It was years to come. I couldn't really do it by myself. I honestly had to have a God experience. And I know that not everybody deals with the God experience, but I did. And in order to find myself, I had to find God first. I had to experience God first. Then I was able to really go on a journey to discovering who I was and who I am. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect or I still completely know myself, but I am saying that I'm pretty stable now in my 30s than I ever was in my 20s or even in my teens because of the me having identity crisis. And stability is really the ground root for everybody's life. And if you don't know your identity, you pretty much won't realize that you're not going to be stable either.
Yeah, so what exactly can you tell us about your when you were first kidnapped in India?
What I can tell you, that was the first memory of India. I can tell you that. And because of that traumatic experience, I can't ever forget it. It's one of those things that, you know, how people say, um, when they have gone through something, they can't ever forget it. You can forgive, but you can't forget. And being abducted and being thrown in a rice sack was my story. And I can't even begin to explain to you what it felt like. I told it in my story with 18 women in a book called Tear the Veil, because it was a very crucial part of my life. It was the beginning part of my life um, that I've experienced. So it was a horrific journey that I went through. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be as strong as I am today. So I do still thank God for my personal experience and my past experience that made me who I am now.
That's awesome. Now, have you faced any other challenges in life or dealt with anything?
I think I always do, but it's a learning curve for me because it's ever since I was a child, I've always ran into experiencing or learning things the hard way, and where most people they would get the proper training or the experience that they would need in how to be an adult. I did not have that. I think as an adult, I have to pretty much, I'm responsible in learning things that I haven't learned as a child growing up. So that is the obstacle that I face. I'm constantly facing the challenges of maturity, what is immature and what is not mature, and just having to grow up and whatever curveball that is thrown at me that maybe I may not have known. And honest to God, there's a lot of things that I haven't known, but I had to learn. But and that's what makes me mature now. And I'm still having to face the facts of, well, this is one of the things that I haven't learned as a child, but I am responsible for myself to learning it and to growing myself and making sure that um, I get all that I can to be in the know or understanding.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, hold on. I think we have a question here from our audience, and this is actually from my dad. And he says, how old were you when you were abducted, and how did you end up in the United States?
I was 4 years old when I was first abducted, and I ended up being in the United States from adoption. So I landed in the orphanage and I came to America through adoption.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, are you thankful to the people that adopted you because they gave you refuge, or did you grow up with them as parents, or how did that
Honestly,
work?
I am thankful that if it wasn't for them or my second adoption that I have gone through, I wouldn't get to the state that where I'm at, and I wouldn't be able to have the family that I have now. Um, so um, I actually went through a horrendous experience as well through adoption. I'm just one of the few children who have gone through a horrific adoption experience myself, because not all adoption goes right. And then there are adoptive children who have the best mom and dad and the best experience that they could ever have. And it's because of them that they are being gleaned from what they could have possibly not have. And so the unfortunate situation for me is that I didn't have that opportunity because of the fact that I went through abuse and neglection through adoption. And so because of that, my life had to be different, and I grew up differently than expected.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, I know that from my experiences that you only get one chance at life. What are you doing to combat child trafficking?
I am Now that I am well aware of myself and I know better of who I am more so, and I'm more stable in my life, I am now advocating for child trafficking. I am now rising above the storm and telling my awareness, my story, and putting awareness out there, and also educating people the differences between child trafficking, and maybe what you can do to prevent child trafficking, and how to be more aware of child trafficking. Because ever since I released that part of the story, I don't think timing couldn't be any more better than what it has been now, especially here in America, uh, due to the fact that now is so hot that I can actually sit there and talk about my story, and tell people that I am a survivor of child trafficking. I may not know exactly what type of child trafficking, but I know that for sure I was child trafficked, and because of that, I am currently on the journey of trying to raise funds to do a documentary film, and go back to India to search for my birth family so I can find out how I was exactly child trafficked, and to find out the rest of my story.
Yeah, wow. That is insane that you were taken and you were found in a rice sack. Man, I don't even know what to say about that. But I want to take a minute here and answer some of these comments. My uncle Walt is in the house. He says, "Hey Jeff, Sammy, oh, I'm gonna butcher this. Sammy from the training, I guess his last name is Ron Hawa,
Mhm.
says, Hello, Dana, how are you? And then he says, Hello, Jeff. So we want to welcome everybody in. If you would please give us a hearts, likes, and share this video out. Invite people to watch this video. We're here with Dana Priyanka Hammond, and she survived a child trafficking scheme. And I think it's pretty darn amazing. And her story will definitely touch people's hearts because what she went through hasn't made up her future. And I want to tell each and every one of you that your past circumstances or whatever you were going through at the moment does not have to determine your future. So we want to make sure that you guys have a great life and live your best life because again, you only get one. So I'm told that my Aunt Terry is also with my Uncle Walt. So thank you, Terry, for watching, and I hope you're enjoying this episode. But Dana, how exactly can someone get a hold of your book or contact you to book you for speaking?
Wow, that's a great question. Thank you for asking me that, Jeff. They can actually Google search me. I am searchable on Google, and they can find my website there to contact me, as well as they can find all my social media to contact me on. So either way, I'm reachable. and they can book me up for speaking gigs, as well as if they want to share their story with me. Either way, I'm open. I'm absolutely open to that, because I am here to relate to people and to be personable with them. And they can also purchase my book on any platforms, whether it's Amazon or whether it's through Walmart and Target. It's all there. But as of currently right now, since I have co-authored with a total 18 women with Tear the Veil to tell that part of my story, I am now publishing the rest of my story with the publisher. It's in the editing phase, so my rest of my story will be released this year, so people can see the and read the rest of the story on the corrupt system of America, the broken system, I should say. And I'm not here to bash anybody down or anything, but it's I'm just telling my story for what it is, because that was my story.
And how exactly do you think your story is going to affect other people?
I think
what do you want to accomplish by telling people your story?
I think my story will hit them home. It's personally, it's relatable, and that's the thing about me putting myself out there. It's not just, it's personable to me, but it's relatable. I think it's going to, for many people, it's going to hit home. For those who haven't found their voice, and for those who haven't had yet the opportunity to say, "Me too. This has taken place in my life. Wow, you're so brave," or whatever the case is. Honestly, strength and bravery comes within each human being, and they can also rise above the storm and say, "Hey, if this girl can overcome this, so can I." The whole point of me telling my story is to relate to people, as well as to put awareness out there and say, "Hey, these things are really happening." And because it's really happening, people need to know the outcome of the circumstances that's really taking place, and how it's affecting individual lives.
Yeah, that's great. What would you say your target audience is?
My target audience mostly is women and children.
All right. And what exactly, if you had unlimited, well, if you had unlimited resources, what is one thing you would tell each of those women, each of those children?
I would share, um, find yourself, find your strength, and come out of it, because you can do it. I would also share, be aware of who you surround yourself with, and come to awareness of what life is really have to offer, because life really doesn't have to offer you pain and suffering, when it actually has a lot more in store for you. You just have to be willing to live your life, and be willing to fight for your life to get there.
That is amazing, and I want to take a second here and tell Lady Rochelle hi, because it's always good to see her, and I'm glad she's watching. And we want to say thank you to Dana for being here, taking the time out of her busy schedule to be here with me and my viewers to help other people get to where they need to get and get past whatever they are dealing with. So we want to say thank you, Dana.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for having me on your show. I really appreciate this time and moment you gave me, and the opportunity. I appreciate it.
And Sammy says thank you, Dana. So we're definitely telling you that you rock, and we want to say thank you. I really want to stress that because that's very important that we thank you.
Uh,
All right. So
mm,
I need everybody out there. Oh, wait, Christy just jumped on. Christy Staples. But I want to remind each of you guys that you need to do me one favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. You need to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when those seconds are going to run out on your one life. All right, guys, have a great night, and we'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I look forward to seeing you then. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone.
bye, guys.